Hey there, it's Chris Acton with Acting Creative, and this is a handwoven experience, episode 72. And in this episode, I'm going to talk about how to weave some overshot. See, in part one of this, I talked about how to dress your loom for this pattern. And in this video, I'm going to talk about how to put all the pieces together to create this beautiful, intricate looking overshot. So just to catch up, I am working on a pattern called Wandering Vine. I am using the fabulous Handweaver's Pattern Book by Marguerite Porter Davison. Now, this is a great book, especially for overshot, but it has all kinds of other stuff in there too. But that's where I'm using my pattern. That's where I'm getting it from for this. And if you'll notice, it's a different color. I got bored and I changed the color of the weft, but it's the same thing, same project as last week. So let's start talking about the weft for an overshot project. First of all, you need not one, but two wefts to create overshot. The first one is your background weft. Now, here's what I recommend for you. For the background weft, just plan to use the same yarn used in your warp. Make life easy. Just start there. The job of the background weft is to weave, plain weave, as part of the fabric. This is the one that's going to hold it all together. If it was up to this other guy, it would all fall apart. But the background weft is the one that's going to hold this all together. It's the real kind of the responsible one in the group. It is going to make sure that it has a good foundation. It's going to be a good sturdy fabric, because this background weft is just going to do plain weave back and forth the entire project. So it is supposed to do just that, stay in the background. Okay, this other weft is called the pattern. I'm calling it the pattern weft. This one, first of all, you need to know it has to be bigger. It has to be bigger than the other one. I recommend about twice the size. So whatever your yarn you used for your warp, just plan to find a pattern weft that is about twice the size, because it needs to really cover the space and create this beautiful pattern. Okay? Now, about the pattern yarn. Let's talk about the actual reading the draft for just a moment. So like I said, I am doing a draft called the Wandering Vine. Here it is right here. So in the last episode, we talked about how we have threaded our heddles accordingly to all of our marching orders here. We have done the tie-ups just like we have written here. So as you go to actually weave it, here are your instructions, how you actually are going to weave this pattern. Now, here's what this won't tell you. It won't give you the actual instructions to do tabby plain weave in between each one. That is implied. So do not worry if you're like, I don't see where the tabby or the plain weave goes. It is implied in this case. It's just one of those things. Sometimes they'll leave you a note depending on the book. But if you're doing overshot, you have to have a plain weave or tabby, we're calling it. So these are your marching orders just for the pattern weft. All right, let's talk about how to work with two shuttles at the same time, because if you haven't done it before, there's a couple little tricks that you can employ to help make things a little easier, because it can get complicated. First of all, just have your shuttles on the same side. It just makes it easier to kind of keep track of things. So start with them both on one side. The second is lead with the same shuttle always. I like to lead with the background shuttle. I like to always start with that one. And basically, I know that when I come to sit down, I'm going to start with this shuttle, and then I'm going to look up which one this needs to go to. The last one is a little more complicated, but bear with me because it will make life much easier. This trick is to coordinate your feet with your shuttles. And here's what I mean. In a 4-shaft loom, you have 6 treadles or petals down below, right? And you're thinking, it seems a little weird because we have 4 shafts when I need 4 treadles. But they're doing us a favor, because for a pattern like this, I need 4 treadles to create this beautifulness, right? But I also need 2 to make the background, the plain weave. Thus, the math works, right? 4 for the pattern and 2 for the tabby, right? Okay, so here is my recommendation. Instead of keeping the 4 treadles together for the pattern and then having the 2 for the tabby together, I recommend you split these guys. have one tabby here and one tabby here. So you have one on the left and one on the right. Because from there, what you can do is that you can make sure that as you're getting ready to throw your background weft, you are using the foot on the left and your shuttles are on the left side. It becomes this great visual trick that will help make life much easier. So let's say you get up and you go make yourself a cup of tea and a snack and you come back down and you're like, okay, where was I? What was I doing? You know that since you're leading with the background shuttle, you know that you have to stomp on the treadle that is on your left side to start the process, right? So those are my 3 tricks. Let's do just a little bit of weaving so you can see what this actually looks like after I've been talking this whole time. So, like I said, you want to coordinate where your feet are with your shuttle. So I know that because my shuttles are on the left, I am going to depress the treadle that's on the left side. So that's an easy one. I'm going to start there. I'm going to lead with my background weft. I'm going to give that a toss. And then per my pattern in the book, which I've kind of memorized, as you go through it enough times, you kind of know what comes next. Oh, see? I just said that and then I pushed the wrong one. See, I got too cocky. Okay, so I know that the next one here is supposed to be treadle number 2, the second one from the left. That's where I am in the pattern. And this one I have to depress this one 6 times in a row. That's where, thank goodness, we all have floating selvages to catch our yarn as we go back and forth. So I'm going to send that through just like that. That's my pattern weft. Okay, now I'm on this side, so I know I'm going to push down the treadle on the far right for my background. Send that back through, over and under the floating selvages. I'm going to come back. Like I said, I had to depress the exact same one for the pattern because I have to do it 6 times in a row. Okay, I'm back on this side. I am pushing the treadle on the far left for my tabby. It's like my tabby treadle. Ha! It's some good alliteration, isn't it? Okay. And then I'll do the pattern because it's the exact same one that I just did before. And that is going to be how you will make some progress. We just did that little bit right there. Like that. That was us right here together. So that is how to weave overshot. As you can tell, it's not that complicated. There's just a couple of moving parts you have to put in place to merge it all together. I hope that helps. And I hope that gave you enough little bits of information that you're like, I can do it. Because you can. You can totally do some overshot. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe because that will give you first dibs on all the videos coming out in the future, and there'll be lots of more. There'll be lots of more. There'll be lots of good stuff coming very, very soon. All right, my friends, have a great week and happy weaving.